So I've been experiencing something that ties in with what has always interested me and oftentimes turned me away from faith. And again, when I speak about this, I don't mean everyone. In fact, I have encountered a lot more people who aren't this way than people who are. Usually it's complete strangers who are this way. When people are having interactions with faith, interactions with Christ, interactions with, God, a lot of people's first reaction is to be like this. Then comes the condemning and the judging and the fact checking. And I understand the natural sensitivity to something you fiercely care about, something you fiercely believe in, and the instinction to then protect it. But I often wonder if you guys ever stop and take a pause and realize if this is how Jesus would react. As someone who grew up Christian, completely got away from the faith, and then has returned to more so following and deepening my understanding of Jesus and character, and trying to approach it as such in a what would Jesus do? What was the thought process? What was the humility aspect? How do I adopt character and that understanding and that way of life into myself versus, a lot of things that were, I guess, pushed onto us ideologically through a lot of different shitty times in history. The main questions I ask myself that have brought me into my faith again have been, what would Jesus do, right? What is God if not love, okay? How does love react in this situation? How does choosing love, choosing grace, choosing betterness, choosing wellness, choosing peace, how does that look in my daily life versus this instinctual? There's a video of me singing gospel going around, and again, I grew up Christian straight away, and then have come back around to finding my steps back towards having faith, which was the most important thing to me, was living with faith again. I was faithless for ages, and living with faith again was what was important to me. That was it. Living with faith, having an undeniable, beautiful, overflowing faith that if anything was going on in my life, my instinct was to then turn to God, because I lost that. And the reaction that's been spinning me has been, oh, well, anybody can sing about Jesus. Let's see if the fruit speaks. And my favorite response to that was, well, did you even pray for her first to have godly fruit before you said this? And I feel like that is an overarching thing that needs to be just in the mind at all times, is my first action needs to be an action of God, an action of what Jesus would probably do, which would be to encourage and to pray and to wish wellness and to be kind first. And then, maybe have my judgments in private. Because then it's also like, isn't the goal here for everyone to find the love of God? Isn't the goal here that, I assume the goal is, that's what, you guys say sometimes. The goal is for everyone to realize they're a child of God and to find faith. And notoriously in the Bible, Jesus didn't do any of that by force. All Jesus was love and standing in that, and people became inspired, and also working miracles. And since none of us are God and can work freaky deaky miracles, the least you could do is be kind and encouraging. The least you could do is be an example. The least you could do is walk in such a bright and shiny and beautiful way and let your fruit speak, that maybe it's inspirational. And maybe people will look at you and say, man, clearly something about them means that what they're doing is working. Clearly what they believe in works so well that their peace is infectious, and their kindness is infectious, and their joy is infectious, and their unwavering faith and belief that anything is possible with God, clearly it's working. Clearly maybe that should be what inspires me. And again, I've met a lot of people whose faith really does inspire me. And those conversations have been what have encouraged me the most. And I think, that's the fruit that I want to seek, and that's the fruit that I want to embody at some point. And I'm rambling, but you get it.